Hello, this is H.C. Bailey, and welcome to my next side Let's Play series, The Final Fantasy Legend, also known as Makai Toushi SaGa in Japan. I'll be playing the Game Boy trilogy for my next few Let's Play series. This series of games also preceded the Romancing Saga trilogy on the Super Famicom, continuing into the Saga Frontier and Unlimited Saga games on the PlayStation consoles. They're not direct sequels of one to the next, but, well, they're part of the same series. Now, I know this isn't going to be a very popular choice for a Let's Play series, but I've thoroughly enjoyed playing it. And perhaps you're a little upset because back in 1989 you were duped into buying this game because it had Final Fantasy in the title. Hey, let's buy this Game Boy game. It's going to be just like Final Fantasy. Well, no, it's not, but it's okay, viewers. I fell for the marketing gimmick too. But I'm glad I did, because this is a fun, simple, different RPG for its day, and I hope you'll enjoy this Let's Play series too. So let's get started here. Now in this game, we aren't immediately made aware of any evil to destroy or princesses to save. Instead, we start out as an adventurer looking to climb a tower to paradise. Now, normally I like my objectives and villains to be more clearly defined, but this game is more about combat, exploration, and trying different combinations of characters, and for some reason that works for me here. I really like this game. It's not Chrono Trigger, don't get me wrong, but it's a fun game nonetheless. Now we get to choose our starting character. Now, although we have 8 characters to choose from, there's essentially 3 classes in the game: humans, mutants, and monsters. We can actually control monsters in this game and fight other monsters while we're at it. Now, humans are pretty bland characters. They can equip weapons and armor, but they can't use magic, or, well, at least not very well. Not worth it, putting magic on them. Mutants are going to be your main magic users. They can also use equipment, but they have fewer slots available for it than humans. Monsters can't use equipment at all, but they come with fixed stats and abilities. Fortunately, the spell charges for their abilities can be restored by resting at an inn. Now, unlike most RPGs, you don't have levels and experience in this game, so to speak. It's more like Final Fantasy II, only better in my opinion. Now, humans only gain stats or get stronger by purchasing potions for them. So like you get an HP potion, it increases their HP. A strong potion increases their strength. And an agility potion increases their agility. To increase their defense, you gotta buy armor for them. Now, they're pretty expensive early on, so I'm only gonna be using one of the humans in my party, but I have ways around grinding for the gold to make them stronger, so, we won't be doing any grinding in this Let's Play series. Now, mutants can get stronger by fighting random battles. At the end of the battle, they'll have a random chance of learning an ability or gaining some stats. Now, unlike Final Fantasy II, you don't gain stats one at a time. It's a little faster. You gain anywhere between 1 and 5 of a given stat per battle, or an ability, or possibly nothing. Now, but unlike Final Fantasy II, or the sequel, Final Fantasy Legend II, this isn't dependent on your actions in battle. So, let's say you can cast a spell, but you might end up gaining strength instead. So this helps to prevent you from becoming too powerful at the beginning of the game, although you still can if you really want to try. And it also prevents you from getting really strong abilities early in the game. But that's only because they're extremely rare. So you can also purchase magic for them, which is stronger than a naturally learned ability. It's like you could buy a fire book and equip it on them, and it'll be stronger than a naturally learned fire spell, but the spell charges of the book can't be restored at an inn, unlike the naturally learned ability. So, but the only annoying part about mutants is that you have to check them after every battle to see what they got. It doesn't announce it at the end of the battle, so, you gotta keep an eye on that. But more importantly, a newly learned ability can accidentally replace an old one. So we gotta save pretty regularly to keep on top of that. These issues are fixed in Final Fantasy Legend too, so you don't have to worry about that in the next game. Now, monsters can also get stronger by fighting random battles, but in a different way. Now, at the end of a battle, with a monster, or an enemy monster, they'll have a random chance of leaving some meat behind in their corpse. Your monster can then eat it and transform into a different monster. Usually, you can eat some meat and rarely become weaker, so you don't have to worry about it too much if you're not going to plan ahead. But this also can result in the possibility of getting an endgame quality monster in the first area if you try hard enough. I won't be taking advantage of that. I'll just be keeping my monsters reasonably strong. And if you want to know, like, what meat will allow you to transform into what monster, there's a good meat transformations fact on GameFAQs, so you can use that. So to start, I'm going to be choosing a mutant female. So I'm going to be naming her after the X-Men character, Jean Grey. I suppose I could have chosen the male to get Pyro, but, that would have been pretty cool, but, well, I figured, I want a female, though. Now, the reason I want a female lead character is because we start out with the Saber, which can be sold for a lot of gold. It's a really powerful agility-based weapon, but we really need the gold to start out because we start out with nothing. So I want to get a jump start on the game here. I'll talk to the people here later. Now here's the inn. The way the inns work in this game, it's kind of like Final Fantasy II. For every HP you've lost, you have to pay a gold in order to get it restored at the inn. Your abilities don't cost any gold to restore. They're spell charges, so that's pretty nice. Let's talk to this guy. Gunbu has hidden a key to... What? Yeah, the text kind of scrolls off pretty fast. Okay, there's a key to a door in the Statue of Hero, so we better look for that. This is the door they're talking about. The door that leads to the Tower to Paradise. So, now this person up here is in charge of the guild. Not like a guild in World of Warcraft, just a guild where you recruit more party members. So, let's do that. Now I want to get a human female. And I'll be naming her Tifa. She kind of looks like a Game Boy version of Tifa. Huh? Huh? Oh, whatever. And let's recruit some monsters, too. I want to get an albatross here. And I'll be naming him... Oh, no, not Crud. No, Crom. You get bonus points if you know what that's from. And I want to get another albatross only because, well, it allows me to get the transformations that I want to relatively quickly. And I'll be naming this monster Isis. You'll have to play Final Fantasy Legend 2 to get that reference. So, there's my party. Now, my mutant starts out with a stealth ability. What that does is it's like a preemptive ability. It allows me to get an entire round of attacks before before the monsters can, or my enemies can. So it's kind of nice. This is a turn-based RPG, by the way. Now, the nice thing about females is that they start out with more agility than males do, whereas males start out with more strength, so it evens out. But the thing is that agility is usually more valuable than strength, at least the way I'm going to be playing the game. Although I will be using some strength-based stuff, too. But yeah, the agility not only covers damage from agility-based weapons, that is, but it also affects the hit percentage of your melee weapons, your evade, your turn order, and it also affects the hit percentage of projectile weapons like bows and arrows. Strength, on the other hand, affects the damage from strength-based weapons like swords, things like that. It also affects the hit percentage of firearms, like guns, cannons, things like that. So, both of them have their uses in this game. On the sequel, agility is far and wide the better stat, whereas in this game they're a little more balanced, although I give the advantage a little more to agility still. Rapier and Saber are agility-based weapons, but I want to sell them right away just to get some gold to start out with, because we start out with nothing, and I really don't feel like grinding for gold. So let's do that. Now here's some weapons that you can get. Longsword and axes are strength-based weapons. We want to get some armor, so let's get a gold gauntlets and gold armor for my human and mutant there. Now the thing with melee weapons is that they come with a, well, sort of a depletion counter, I guess, or a durability counter, that's what I mean. you use a weapon and it decreases the counter. So like a longsword, you use it 50 times in battle, it'll break, and then you'll have to buy another one. You can't simply go to like a blacksmith and have them repair the weapon for you. It doesn't work that way. There's a way of doing that, but it's really expensive later in the game. Here's some spell books. We don't want to get those quite yet. And here's some of the potions I was telling you about. There's some healing potions, antidotes, revives, hearts. I'll be going over this stuff later. Basically, I'll just be going over more mechanics and other stuff like that later in the game. I just want to focus on the preparations for now, and I'll go over the rest as I play the game. So let's equip that stuff on my mutant and human there. But that's all the time I have for this episode of Let's Play the Final Fantasy Legend. I hope you'll enjoy this Let's Play series. This is H.C. Bailey, signing off. Have a good day.